Hello everyone, and welcome to today's video on how to make a dishcloth using just a crochet hook and some yarn. Today I am going to be using a 5.5 millimeter hook and some brightly colored yarn to spice up your dishes. So if you would please grab these two tools, we will go ahead and get started. Okay, so last week we did go over how to hold your yarn. Just in case that information is escaping you, I will quickly go over how we are going to hold the yarn after we tie our initial knot. So to start this project, you are going to need to create a slip knot. First, take a little bit of the string from your yarn ball or skein and lay out the end on your work surface. To do this, you are going to take the tail end, you are going to cross it over to create a loop. Next, you are going to pick up your loop and you are going to take the long end, not the tail end. The tail end is over here. Take the long end and put it through your loop. So loop through your loop. Now you should have a mess that looks a little bit like this, a loop through your other loop. Take the two ends and pinch them in your fingers. Slowly tighten until you have a large loop like so. Now you will take your hook, insert it through the loop, tighten, and there you have it. Your slip knot. This knot should be able to move, so I can make it larger by pulling on the loop, or I can make it smaller by pulling on the tails. Now, to review last week, you are going to take your hand. The hand holding your hook should be your dominant hand. I am right-handed, so I put my hook in my right hand. Take the yarn and wrap it around your pinky finger. Once again, it's from front to back. Next, you're going to turn your hand over. All you have to do is gently rest your yarn upon your pointer finger. Final step, you will take your thumb and middle finger and gently hold on to that slip knot you created, like so. So, around the pinky, over the pointer finger, and grasp on to the knot. Here we have our hold, and we are ready to start making our dishcloth. So the first thing we are going to learn to do today is called a chain. This is the base of most crochet projects. What you are going to do is wrap the yarn around your hook. I personally like to go back to front. You are going to keep tension using your pointer finger. Slowly pull that loop through your slip knot. Ta-da! You should create a V shape. That is your first stitch. You are going to repeat this process. So wrap front or back to front, pull through, and now I have two. I would like you to do this until you reach 30 knots. So right now I have 1, 2. You go until you get 30. So 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. I will meet you at the end. Okay, wonderful work. You have just completed 30 chain stitches. Now we are going to create our first official row going back in this direction. So grab your yarn and we are going to look for V's. Now each stitch looks like a V. You should have 30 V's because you did 30 chain stitches. This first stitch that we are going to do, we are going to skip this first V, and I'm going to go into the second V. So take your hook and go through the top loop of that V. Now I should have 2 stitches on my hook. In a very similar way to the chain stitches, you are going to wrap back to front and you are going to pull through 1, not both, just 1. After you pull through 1, then you will wrap your hook and pull through 2. That is your first stitch. Now, as you can see, I have just gone through this loop. I need to look for my next V. I am going to go through the top loop of that next V. I'm going to pull through 1 and pull through 2. Once again, looking for the next V, I'm going to put my hook through, pull through 1, pull through 2. And as I go, you can see I am forming new stitches along the top. Now, I am going to repeat this process all the way to the end, where I am simply going to go through each loop, pull through once, pull through twice. I will meet you at the end. Make sure that you go through each of the top loops. Be careful not to turn your yarn. If you do so, it will make the bottom of your washcloth look wrinkly. Instead, make sure that you have the V's facing up and you are going through the top loop of each stitch. I will meet you at the end of this row. Great work! You have gotten to the end of your first row. Now, I waited to do this last stitch. Sometimes it's a little tricky and we're like, oh my goodness, I have finished it. Nope, we have to go into that last V before the knot. So you are going to put in your last stitch, 1 and 2, and you officially have your first full row. Now, this turn can be a little tricky, so let's walk through it together. You are going to take your yarn and you are going to do a chain stitch. Remember, this is how we started. You only need to do 1. Wrap your hook and just pull through to create your chain stitch. It should look like this. Now, we are going to turn our work. So flip it over and we are going to go back in this direction. So I have my chain stitch. I am going to skip the first V. This is the first V. Remember, as I look at it, this is my chain stitch. I just created that. This is the first V. I'm going to skip him and go to the second one. This is because that chain stitch stands in for the first stitch on this row. Now, unlike when you were doing the first row, you are going to go through both loops, so under the V. It kind of looks like a little hole on the side of the yarn. So if I look at it from the top, I'm simply going under both strings. Please don't let this confuse you. I know right now it kind of looks like I have 1, 2, 3 on my hook. I only have 2 because this is 1 stitch. Now, just like before, you are going to pull through that first stitch. Once again, I have 2. I'm going to pull through both of them. Going on to the next V or next stitch, I slide my hook through, wrap once and pull through that V, wrap again and pull through both. One more time, you can either look for this hole or you can look at the top. I like looking at the side. You're going to insert your hook, wrap, pull through that stitch, and then pull through both loops. As you can see, I am slowly building up row by row. we are going to meet again at the end of this row. We will learn one more time how to turn. So stitch all the way down this row and I will meet you at the end. Okay, we have reached the end of our second stitch row. What I would like to do for just a moment, the last stitch on this row can be just a little bit confusing, mainly because he kind of looks like he's tilting down to the last row. This stitch, you still need to put a stitch into it. If you don't, your yarn will start to form a triangle. So this last stitch, put your hook through both, pull through once, pull through twice, and you have officially finished your second row. Now, just like the last row, we are going to take our hook and do one chain, as so. Now, turn your work. We are going to go back this way. So just like the last time, we're gonna skip our slip stitch. We're gonna skip this first stitch, and we're gonna go into the second stitch of the row. Put your hook through, pull through once, pull through twice, and there you have it. Same with the next stitch. Pull through once, pull through twice, and you will continue this all the way down the row. Now, the official pattern says that you are going to create 30 rows. That being said, yarn can be tricky. So if you feel that you get to 30 and it still looks a bit like a rectangle, you can add a few more rows. Or if you get to 30 and you think it's too tall, you can take out a few rows. Basically, we want it to look like a square. Your yarn might not fit perfectly in that 30 rows. So when you think, wow, this looks like a perfect square, stop. Stop at the end of a row and I will come back to teach you how to tie it off. So keep stitching, keep turning. If you need to remember how to turn, go back in the video and watch it again. It is the same for every row. I will see you when you have a square. Wonderful job! You have completed your square. Mine did turn out to have about 30 rows, and that is where I stopped. Now, like I said previously, you might have more or less depending on your yarn, but it should just look like a square. Now, we are going to take a pair of scissors. I need you to cut the end of your yarn. It doesn't need to be very long. You don't want to cut it very close because then you won't be able to tie it. Just a medium tail. I will take out my hook. I do not need this for right now. Set that to the side. I am going to take the tail and put it through this loop and simply pull to tie. Yank a little bit on it and there you go. Now, you still have two funky little tails hanging off here, and we're gonna wanna get rid of those. So, you will need your hook again. There are multiple ways to do this. You can use a needle. I personally use my hook just because I don't like getting more materials, but it's completely up to you. Now, what you are going to do is take the little tail end of that yarn. You're going to put your hook through. I personally put mine through that last stitch and start pulling the yarn through. Now you want to do this in very slow increments. You want to pull it from the side it's on. So I'm not going to go on this side and like try to loop it over or anything. I'm going to stay on this side, the side that it's on, and pull it through. And you're just going to do this over and over and over again until you don't have too much tail left. Now when I do this, I like to bring it all the way down one side, and then I usually start going back the way I came, so doubling back on it. This really makes sure it is secure, it is solid. That tail's not going to be going anywhere. So I'll pull it through one more time, right here. And then once it's really well woven in there, I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to cut that off. Now I personally leave just a little bit hanging out right there so that I can pull it a little bit and make the tail completely disappear. You will do that for the tail on the other side as well. Once you have completed all of those steps, you have a finished dishcloth. Well done. Great work on this project, everybody. Feel free to watch any of the previous videos or the future videos to learn about more projects. I am so excited that we could do this project together today, and I will see you later. Have a good day.